I ask again, and you asked this question. You mentioned this question yesterday as to why you were not worried about the longshoremen strike as much as you think you should be.
With a caveat. Yeah, the caveat is I don't think we're dealing with the way politicians and governments have always worked. Everything's changed.
Maybe that's true, but like we have 5 weeks to the election.
Yeah.
You have, number one, a situation with longshoremen going on strike. As you mentioned today, you went through the timeline of this in hour one. If you didn't hear that, go back and listen to it.
It's important that you listen. So you should not panic today. You might want to go to the store and get some extra stuff if you just want to be really prepared. But starting next week and by week 3 and definitely by week 4, at week 4, we're at a national crisis.
Week 4. That would be the week before the election.
Yes.
Okay. And yet, somehow, this strike is going forward despite the fact that the president of the United States, a man even in background reporting, does want Kamala Harris to win. It's not like he's like trying to sink her presidency, even though he's seemingly angry because she's blowing him off all the time. Why isn't this coming to a halt? Why isn't he using all of his power to make sure this doesn't happen? Not because he cares about the longshoremen, or not because he cares about the U.S. economy. Yeah, seemingly wants to sink that. But because he cares about the future of the power that he's worked so hard and she's worked so hard to gather.
Okay. So let me start with the official reason. He's not getting involved because the president should not get involved in union fights until it becomes a real problem.
I ask, was that worth saying? It is such a ridiculous...
No, I just want to make sure.
I know, you're just doing your job.
Yes.
But that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I don't believe it.
They get involved in everything. What, all of a sudden they're libertarians?
Yeah. And he stopped the train strike before the train strike happened. He got involved in that one.
Heavily involved.
Right.
And all he's done is talk about his accomplishments with labor.
Okay. So why wouldn't he get involved this time?
Yeah. Say, hey, guys, do this after the election. Why wouldn't he stop this?
I mean, I have my answer. And my answer is probably the answer that everybody else is coming to the conclusion on. It is that's not the goal here.
The goal is not to win the election?
Eden Pure is back with their famous Thunderstorm air purifier. It's their top seller air purifier that quickly destroys viruses, odors, mold, and so much more. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you know it works. Any smell will vanish after just a few seconds of the Thunderstorm being plugged in. Odors, litter boxes, trash cans, cigarette smokes, dirty diapers. Wow, I don't want to visit that house. The powerful Thunderstorm sends out O3 molecules that seek out and destroy odors. I have these in my house. They're great. The molecules go behind and under furniture. Nothing can hide from the Thunderstorm. Best of all, no filters to buy over and over again, saving you money. Start enjoying your home again and get several Thunderstorms. Right now, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for the whole home protection. You get 3 units for under $200. Put one in your basement, bedroom, family room, kitchen, wherever you need the air to be clean. Go to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. Use the promo code BECK and save.
The goal is to cripple the United States and to create a polycrisis. So let's just say it's a close election, okay? And there's arguments back and forth after the election.
Which
okay?
It would be shocking if there wasn't that
Correct.
situation.
How do you make that worse?
I mean, they keep inventing new ways.
Well, here's one. You make it worse by taking the economy and making the economy even more unstable. Okay? Because look, if those who believe with good reason that this government is not for an America the way we know it, they have to give it the final blow to put it out to be able to restart in a new system. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that with just one crisis. You need a polycrisis. You need a financial crisis. You need a war crisis. You need an election crisis. You need a financial crisis, a pandemic crisis, and an election crisis. You have to have more than one.
Okay, but and I think because this adds to another question that I have, it's on the same front. You have this hurricane that's going through all of these swing states. You have Georgia, North Carolina, and I mean Florida. There's even been close polling in some circles. You have all this stuff going on in these really important states, and they seem to be completely unconcerned, to even giving the appearance that they're doing a good job. I mean, they're not even doing the press conferences in front of the rows and rows of trucks. Today they're out there, I guess, a little bit. But I mean, it's been a pretty bad response. Even just, I'm not at all surprised they would be bad at doing this because they're completely incompetent. If that's what it was, I would not be surprised. But it's not even an effort to tell the story that they're doing a good job. Again, if you want because the polycrisis thing, and I know you're down this road, and I'm not surprised you are, but like, wouldn't that be best done after you had power? You are about to blow the power that you have, just flush it down the toilet if you lose this election, and give power to the man you call, Orange Hitler.
Well, yes, if it's clear. If it's a clear victory. And this would add to a clearer victory. But, you also, all you need it to be is close. And it'll be, Biden wins the popular vote and Trump wins 270. You think that's going to stop them? They're going to say, no, see, that's why we have to get rid of the Electoral College. It'll be a crap storm. Okay, no matter what happens. Okay,
that's not the way I've usually heard that term utilized.
It's for FCC. So let me give you a couple scenarios. Why do they not respond on the hurricane? Scenario number one: take them at their word. They are. People in those states just aren't seeing it. Donald Trump is lying. Whatever. Okay, so there's scenario number one. They are. And you just don't see it. Don't believe that one. Scenario number two is they actually believe this stuff.
What do you mean this stuff?
If you go to the FEMA website, FEMA is no longer what we thought it was. We told you at the time when they were changing all this, warning, they're changing everything. It's no longer really a federal emergency management. They're going to manage prior to and then manage our problems. Okay. So here, according to their own website, there are now 3 goals for FEMA. Okay. What do you think FEMA's number one goal has always been?
To respond quickly to a national emergency.
Okay. Goal number 1, not that.
Not that.
Goal number 1 is to instill equity as a foundation of emergency management. Now, so in other words, if this were a traditionally oppressed group, which I think Appalachia could easily qualify that, but
too white.
No. Mm-hmm. Too white. Okay, so what does equity have to do with this? White people wiped out. Okay, well, they get what they deserve. We want to focus on those oppressed. Okay, that's what equity is about. Goal number 2: lead a whole community in climate resilience. Well, they're doing that job. They're on television saying this is all climate control. This is all the problem with the climate. These things are going to happen.
And they passed their multi-trillion-dollar climate bill that they called the Inflation Reduction Act.
So out of the 3 goals, they're accomplishing number 1 and number 2 by not acting. Number 3, their goal is to promote and sustain a ready FEMA and prepared nation. So what does that mean? To promote and sustain a ready FEMA and prepared action. Well, ready for what? Goal number 1, instill equity. Goal number 2, lead the community in climate resilience. Resilience. So when does FEMA come in? FEMA will come in as everything is being rebuilt and say, no, you can't build it that way. No, we have to have climate resilience. This isn't climate resilient. That's their mission. So now, perhaps, they actually believe in that mission. This isn't helping a community that has been historically oppressed. So that's where equity is number 1. We're going to do our job, but it's climate resilience. It's not the emergency. And the third reason is we're here to promote those two things and prepare the nation for those two things. I mean, that logically, without any ill will towards anyone, I don't have to assume, I can assume the best of them and make this case. That's why they're not responding in the traditional way, because that's not what they do anymore. But understand, where are my tax dollars? Understand, your tax dollars will go to build the resilience after. This is like you've been paying your mortgage on your house, and the bank says, by the way, we're no longer doing that anymore. You still have to keep paying the mortgage, but you're out of that house. We're doing apartments now. So you pay for that house, and here's your apartment, and you have to pay for that too. That's what's happening. They have told you your taxes are going for emergencies. Well, here's a huge emergency. They're not responding to it because they've changed the game.
I mean, in some ways, too, this appears to be their backhanded way of implementing many of the policies they've wanted for a long time. For example, it's really hard to sell people on, let's say, reparations.
Yes.
People don't support that. They don't like it. Kamala Harris is running away from her past positions on it.
One other thing, Stu, if you have a community without water and you have no food and there's no infrastructure, how do you think those elections are going to run in those states?
Poorly.
Yeah. How do you think those people even show up to cast a vote?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
These are not exactly hardcore Democrat areas.
No. You've just taken a huge swath of Donald Trump's voters and made it pretty difficult for them to go vote. You think FEMA is going to go out there and set up voting booths?